Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at this interesting concept called repetition frequency. It's just this theory I sort of developed. So there's going to be two ways that you can kind of play through songs you can practice. Usually, there's going to be the start from the beginning every time thing. So when you keep playing, make a mistake, you kind of start back from the beginning. You keep playing, I make a mistake, let's go back to the beginning. So there's a kind of the start back from the beginning mistake, and then there's the let's play all the way through it from start to finish without without really fixing it. There's just play through all the way through it, and then throughout the way there's like all these mistakes and things maybe you don't know. You just kind of play all the way through it. Yeah, it's okay. So both of these are not really the best ways to practice. They're very common. They're common mistakes. So essentially the theory is that you're constantly being pulled towards the beginning, all right, because this is what your ear wants to hear the most. You want to hear it from the beginning. Otherwise, it really doesn't make sense. So you're going to play the beginning more. This is always going to happen, and we just can't prevent that. But what we can do is to try to take measures against that. So what happens in the end is there's going to be a higher frequency of A's and a lower frequency of E's. And in this scenario here, there's going to be somewhat of a bad balance here, because here you're going to get A's really well, and you're going to get E's pretty well as well. But in the beginning here, in the middle here, you're not really going to know what the heck is going on here. You know how our memory works. So we remember the beginning, we remember the end, but we don't really remember too much of the middle. And we kind of have to follow the sequence. And if we sort of lose the sequence and we get distracted from the sequence, it's really hard to get. So it's hard to sort of like pull something out straight from the middle, because the middle is the hardest part to get. Now, so how do we sort of take measures against this? We're going to increase the frequency of other parts. So we have to play part 2 more, and then we just play part 1 just once. When we do it that way, we're going to counter this repetition frequency theory. Now, your goal is to basically get everything even. And here's just an example of this in real life. One of my students was playing the first part of a song. He played it 6 times before he played the second part. And then when I asked him how many times he played the first part, he only thought he played it 2 times. He said 2. I played that 2 times. Like, dude, you played that 6 times, that first part. So you see how we unconsciously, without realizing it, play certain things. And this just happens over and over again. Like, we play it the first part a whole bunch of times, because we kind of make a mistake, we start from the beginning. We make a mistake, start from the beginning. Make a mistake, start from the beginning then. And we never play it all the way through or fix the little parts. We just get this skewed theory, this skewed repetition frequency. So this is how you fix it. So the first thing is you have to listen to every single note that comes out of your guitar. Okay? A lot of people will not really listen to what's coming out of their guitar. They just kind of play stuff, and they kind of just ignore what just happened, just kind of forget about what they just played. And just kind of like just try to play. I don't really know what's happening. I don't really know what's in their perspective. But when I'm listening, I noticed at some point, like, one of the things that I just do is I just listen to everything. I just listen very, very carefully. And I listen to everything that comes out of my guitar, and I listen to it as if it's a song. I put a really critical ear onto it, and I'm like, do I really like what I hear? Is that really what I want to hear coming out of my guitar? Like, like, what if I was listening to music? What do I really want to hear? What song do I want to hear right now in my head? And then I try to literally replicate that. I want everything that I play to be exactly right. So I really got to listen very carefully to every single sound that comes out of the guitar. You probably listen to yourself speak, and that's why, well, you could speak really well without making that many mistakes. You're going to correct yourself immediately. You listen to what you're saying, you think about what you just said, you think about what you're about to say. It's sort of this very easy connection for us. We need to do that same thing with the guitar. The guitar is like a communication device that we need to communicate through. So, yeah, you just have to consciously hear every note, and it's going to stick in your memory. Okay, so you need to be able to recall what you just heard, and if you don't listen consciously, you're not going to remember what you just heard. You're going to forget. So you have to listen to what you just played, and then remember that. And when you do that, you start to realize, wait a minute, I just played that. Wait a minute, I just played that again. Oh, I just played that again. And I remember playing that like a million times, because you're consciously paying attention to what you have been playing. You're not getting distracted like, I can't get it, and you just try to do it again and again and again, and you just kind of start from the beginning every time. You don't really think about what you're doing. Okay, you have to be very conscious about this because it skews your repetition frequency. That's why. And it makes it really, really hard to learn if you're skewing your repetition frequency. We have to counter this. This is like a huge problem. All right. Now, yeah, you have to track the music with your ear as you hear it. So you have all these different senses that we're going to talk about a little bit later that will help you to, you know, to memorize what you just heard. Well, one thing is your vision. You got to sort of intake everything at the same time, but you know your attention is going to be focused on, you know, what you see. Here's the problem: the reason why people don't really listen to their guitar very much is because they're seeing things. Okay, they're just seeing their the vision is taking up too much of your attention, so you're looking around. That's why you like to read the tabs. You want to see what the tabs. Oh, what's the tab? Let's see the tab. I want to see the tab. You're seeing the tab. You're using your vision. But this is music. You have to use your ears. You have to listen. Your hearing just takes a back seat, and you kind of. And here's the thing: like your vision can take it at everything. It's just all coming in at you. But your hearing, you can only hear one moment at a time. Okay. You can't hear the whole piece of music at the same time. But what you can do is look. You can look at this whole thing at the same time. You could see it structured, right? So your vision can take in everything. But if I were to, but you're listening to this me speak, right? And you can only hear one word at a time. Isn't that crazy? How these senses are a little bit different. So the only way to be able to fix this, to be able to remember large portions of the music, is actually kind of try to visualize the music in your mind. So you use your visualization skills to try to sort of visualize what the sound sounds like in sections, what the structure might sound like in visual form in your imagination, to sort of see what kind of parts there are. Okay. So this, anyway, when you start to focus on what you're listening, this solves the unconscious problem because now you're actually consciously focused. And the final thing here is the second piece is that you just need to realize that you just did it, and compensate by playing other parts more. And this will solve the frequency problem. So when you start listening to your guitar playing, you start realizing that you're actually doing this, and then you start compensating that. You start counterspelling that by playing the other parts more. And we're going to give you some tricks right here in this memory technique section here. I'm going to show you the tricks for how to counter this. Okay? So I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and go and check the next one out here, memory techniques.